Hey there. I thought that the Democratic debates were boring as fuck, and I regret watching them. It was terrible. I honestly do not think that the Democratic debates means anything really. I don't think that many people tuned in. I haven't actually looked at the numbers yet, so why am I on the internet saying that I don't think people watched it? But I don't think people did. I think people who are like into politics who already have their opinions on things watched it. So I don't think that this really has any effect on things except for how the media might change the perception of a few candidates. Other than that, like I don't think this is really going to hurt many people like a lot of people on the mainstream media says it is, or even some of the commentators on YouTube. But let's go through this anyways. And even though this is boring, I don't think it means much. But I'm glad we got through one round of people. Let's please just start getting rid of people now. Like we don't need a lot of these characters. So Pete Buttigieg, I'm gonna go ahead and call him out first and say that just please get out of the race. You're so annoying. You're some guy from a town. You're just a mayor who's young who doesn't actually have any actual sort of policy beliefs. So please just drop out. Like I don't see how he thinks he has some sort of enough of a following to actually beat and contend with anybody. Plus the fact that he's gay, I guess that'll get out the leftist type folks, but the majority of like Christian right wingers are not going to want to vote for you in a general election. So, I don't want to say don't run for president because you're gay, but you can't really use that as an argument. Like, I don't think it's a good argument. Like, hey, I have a better chance of winning, so go with me, because that seems to be a lot of the people's actually go-to move now. Actually, Tulsi Gabbard on Bill Maher's show, she actually said that she thought the best decision for the Democratic National Committee to go with, or, I mean, they are pretty much probably going to rig it again, I bet. But the Democratic candidate that they should go with is someone who they should beat Donald Trump. Here you go. Look at this real quick.
What do you think about that?
Well, look, I saw an interview that you did recently talking specifically about how the media is driving for profits and ratings and divisiveness rather than actually looking at what are the real issues that the American people are struggling with. How are we as candidates running for president seeking to solve those challenges? But ultimately, I think what all of this comes down to is that ultimate question is who is the best candidate to defeat Donald Trump? That's our objective in November of 2020.
But the people.
And I mean, honestly, she probably does. That is probably a good tactic for her to try to get that thought out there into the public, because she is a decent distance behind Bernie Sanders, but she is a contender in that range of other people. And, Joe Biden, I don't think he's going to last that long. I don't think he was hurt as bad in this debate as a lot of people think that he was. But I don't think he's going to last till the end. He's shown in the past that he's really not as great of a candidate as, as he's been in the past when people weren't actually paying attention to politics. Because one thing that Trump did do was actually get a lot of people more interested into politics. And I definitely think that there's definitely a huge section of the left that's going to not accept it. I mean, he's not a character that we need. Like, we need actual change. We need someone different. So just going with Joe Biden is a terrible decision. We shouldn't do it. And actually, he is a Hillary Clinton type candidate. Like, that's what they had last time, and they lost. Sorry, my mouth is dry. Beto O'Rourke, same with him. You were exposed, guy. You're not an actual true leftist who doesn't accept money from large corporations. Like, I'm sure a lot of your base is still there because, they don't really look into stuff or really care that much. It's like, hey, here's the guy who's spewing the fake platitudes. Let's go ahead and continue with him. But no, he's just another guy who's giving money, a large, very large amount of money. Like, and the Spanish thing, I thought that he was just joking and like, come on, man, like this long? You're going to keep going this long? Like, at first I'm like, all right, you go ahead and throw out a couple Spanish words, plead, that's not impressive. And that's not what a leader, you have to make good policy decisions and propose good things, and you don't do that, and you don't accept things like Medicare for all, and same with Tim Ryan. He's all this country needs because of the working people. It's like, you are the farthest thing from a person that would actually help working people. It's just annoying to hear someone like, the working people need this, when, like, look at your voting record, like it's 2019, buddy. Get out of here. What are you doing? You know, and his back and forth with Tulsi Gabbard, and he says we got to be in Iraq just because of the Taliban attacked us on 9/11 when it was actually Al Qaeda and Tulsi Gabbard. That actually made Tulsi look good, and I mean I think she does have the potential to challenge Bernie or Joe Biden or whoever, and Cory Booker with the whole I lived in a neighborhood where there was 7 gunshots just last week. Cory Booker, you're a loser, man. I remember when he was in some sort of committee and he was just begging to be thrown out. He's just trying to make a scene because he wanted to, he knew he was gonna be running for president and he wanted some sort of news headline. Like you're a fake guy. You could have lowered the prices of prescription medicines for so many Americans, and you just said, well, no, because the donors who I receive money from aren't gonna like that. It's such an easy thing, and he voted against it. Bernie Sanders proposed it, just, import drugs from Canada and have a lower price on them. But, no, Cory Booker doesn't want that because the FDA didn't get to clear it, but it's actually previously cleared by the FDA before we export it to Canada and just receive it back. So Cory Booker, definitely not. Like, please, just get out. You don't have enough support, and you're not... Like Kamala Harris and the Pete Buttigieg, they're in the lane that you're trying to get into, and it's full, and you're just wasting everybody's time and money. So please just get out of here. Same with a lot of these characters, but one that does get under my skin is John Delaney. He's a guy who seems to think that he knows what's best for you, and like you guys, nope, you don't like this, but yeah, that's what you need. No, how are you going to run for president when you act like that? Like it's not practical, and you should get out along with so many others. Like I don't even want to read off half of them because they're not even worth looking into. It's like, you hear what they say. It's like, okay, obviously not, and you have obviously no chance of climbing this ladder. Like you are wasting everybody's time, and it's obvious. Elizabeth Warren, she did okay. She got a good amount of speaking time and a majority, and she says her usual points and appears to be good, but then again this debate doesn't really mean much. So she is climbing, and but I don't know if it could go somewhere. Elizabeth Warren, she's climbing and she's proposing a lot of stuff, and she's really pushing to do to actually grow her support, but no, we can't. We don't need her. The fact that she voted to expand the military budget is not a good thing. The fact that she won't actually really say that she supports Medicare for all, she always tiptoes around it in whatever way she can. She's a good politician and she does do many good things, but I don't want to vote for her for president. If it is down to her, I would still be happy to vote for her because she will do good things and will be a better president. Better than Obama, I'd imagine, and definitely better than Trump. And let's see here, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. So I don't think that dispute between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden was really that bad for Joe Biden, but I definitely think all of the news headlines being like Kamala Harris like takes Joe Biden to town definitely does make him look bad, because people are going to look at that and be like, well, look at that right there. My mouth is dry. Well, so, it does look like the media is going with Kamala Harris. So we'll see how that plays out. It does look like she's climbing up and, she's going to be in that contender area. But most of these people need to just get out, except for Bernie Sanders, the man. But when he was pressured about the taxes and Medicare for all, he did handle that weird. Like they did push him into a corner and they were really gunning for him, but he should have definitely explained it better than just like, but yes. He just kind of, you can tell that they just really pushed it out of him. He could have explained that in such a better way and could have actually explained that the people with lower money, like he does say it, but he doesn't really dive in deep and like talk about, like a real working American and the exact percentages where it would kick in and how much it would help them actually be able to have more spending money. He should have actually, but you know what, it did seem like he wasn't his like full fiery self in the debate, but it was just one night. Bernie Sanders definitely has his nights, in my opinion, where he does very well and actually demonstrates his points without sounding like a broken record, because that's the line in the media here lately, is that Bernie Sanders kind of sounds like a broken record because he's saying the same things he did in 2016. And yes, it is good that he is staying consistent, but it seems like he always goes back to we need to tax the 1% because of we need Medicare for all, but he needs to phrase the way he kind of says this stuff. It's all good policy, and I love him. I'm voting for him, and I think everybody should vote for him. That's who I want to win. That's who I wanted to win before, and I believe that he could definitely beat Trump. The fact that he calls himself a democratic socialist was never a good idea in my opinion. Like, the socialist has such a bad connotation to it. It's like, it's a terrible idea to ever do that. But, it's out there now. What are you going to do? I don't think that Democrats should stick to it. I read something in the Politico, just embrace socialist, being called socialist. And I'm just like, no, definitely not. Bernie Sanders should have backtracked from that. I think he should have also come out and said, okay, you guys are right. I see now, yes, prisoners like the Boston bomber shouldn't be allowed to vote in prison. I think he should have come out and said that, because upon reviewing his debate or town hall, that discussion back then, it kind of seems obvious. Maybe I know he wants to stick to it's a principle, just to protect the right to vote, everyone has to. I know that seems pretty, but when you're running for president, and that's kind of an iffy one anyways, if you just committed an obvious act of terrorism, if you shot 30 people, you shouldn't get to vote. If there's a vote the next day, hey, he still gets to vote. That does look bad. And honestly, I don't agree with people who have committed horrible atrocities. It doesn't really affect it too much in the end, really. So it's kind of whatever. But let's focus on fixing those problems and fixing the mental health that results in people committing acts like that. But I don't know. That's a lot of, I don't know. We're all just people talking about things. Who knows? I think this is it. I think I'm done. I think I've got nothing left to say.
I'll be rapping till my throat's sore. That's a shame, I'd like to boast more, but I'll propose a toast for climbing up this game like I'm trying to make it to the top floor. I'm not complacent, including these words and phrases in music. It ain't the greatest, won't use it, we ain't adjacent, I'm ruthless. We pray for words to get through it, refresh the pages to boost it, but keep it up cause they're clueless. Just know we know what the truth is, who the best in the booth is. Shut it down.